Welcome back to yet another beautiful episode of the show. This is Ty the Note with the maker of the romantic Mochiga. Beautiful show about marriage. We are redefining the marriage institution. So I would like to thank all of you who are watching, subscribing, sharing, and all that stuff. Thank you so much for loving the channel. Thank you so much for ensuring that we are growing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. And these days, man, it's so amazing, man. I walk into places, I walk into spaces, and people get to recognize me, and they're like, man, thank you for that great job you're doing. Guys, you do not know how much you don't know how much those words really mean to me. And I even get calls from random people, and someone tells me, man, I watched this episode. A friend was telling me of how a certain couple had gotten married and they wanted to maneuver through the finances. There are 2 episodes they watched and they're like, man, we have gotten our grip. And I'm like, whoa! So this is the impact it is creating. So guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate. Now, today is another beautiful episode. Now I have a couple, an awesome couple. They're making 10 years in marriage very soon. And the gentleman is a coach. He's a marriage coach. Man, it's going to be an interesting conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me today is Mr and Mrs Mulinde. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Thank you very much. Good to be here, and we're happy.
Yeah. How is it going? How is marriage treating you?
You can see we are healthy.
You are indeed healthy.
Yes, we
you really did healthy.
Yes, we are healthy, and we thank the Lord.
Yeah.
That one, He has blessed us with 4 children.
Yeah.
First,
Wow.
4 children. Yes, 4
Nice.
children.
And still counting. Oh.
She can speak for herself on that. she's the one who but
carries them.
Yes, but they're all fine. We thank the Lord.
That's great.
Very happy children. We thank God that we have 4 healthy children.
Nice.
And He has been a blessing there, and they have been a blessing to us and to our marriage, and to the people who they identify with.
Yeah.
So we thank God. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Mrs Mulinde,
Yeah.
how is marriage treating you?
Oh, it's a blessing, I should say. Yeah, of course, it's not a bed of roses, but there are positivity. There are positive things actually that you pick out from there that build you, that build a character that you say, hey, I didn't know I had this in me. I didn't know I could do this. And it's beautiful, I should say. So people should not fear marriage. They should not listen to that negative part of it that, marriage is this, marriage is that. No, it's a beautiful place if you choose to make it a beautiful place.
So it's one who chooses to make it beautiful.
Yeah.
It's what you make it.
It's a choice.
Really?
A choice.
Wow. Interesting. 9 years, making 10 years.
Yeah.
How did you meet?
Well, me and my wife, it's interesting. Okay, we had met before. Not really like meeting, but we have been a little bit in. At least we've crossed spaces in schools. She has been classmates to my siblings.
Wow.
Also classmates to her siblings.
High school?
Yeah, high school. And being that we were both in the same, religious circles, we had met. And actually, it's after we married that we learned that even my father had ever sold a car to her father. But so we didn't know that we were meeting somehow. But as far as meeting is concerned, we actually didn't date long. We dated about 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
Then I decided, and this is where it gets interesting, that a man usually decides at the very beginning of a relationship that they'll marry.
Wow. Yeah.
A man does not think about it. A man does not create it over time. A man knows the woman he wants to marry. And usually they let that person know. And they also let the person who they don't want to marry know through so many ways. So sometimes people just stick around, but a man will always let you know. So we didn't date long. And then we did our, Kuchala, Kwanjula, and then, and here we are. So many years after. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Mrs Mulinde.
Yeah.
This man comes to you and you know each other. How did you feel when he told you that he wants you, he wants to be with you for the rest of his life?
Oh, I was in shock because, 4 months down the road, you're still getting to know someone. And of course, I'd had the comfort that because I'd started with a young sister since primary, we only separated at university. She went to Makerere, I went to UCU, but we had been in the same schools. So when he tells me he wants to marry me. I was like, this guy, must be lying. He's chasing, other things, making it look like, he wants commitment and all that. So I first wait to tell my family. So I remember I was celebrating my mom's 50th birthday. So he insists that he wanted, to come and like be part of the function. And I was a little bit skeptical because I didn't know whether I wanted to actually introduce someone to my parents that hasn't sure of.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, come home. So he came, so I told my mom, he's my friend. And my husband has I don't know how to call it, but he knows how to charm people. So in the midst of the party, he picked up a conversation with my dad, and they got lost in a conversation like they had met before and all that. So shortly after the birthday party, I remember him showing up at my place of work. Then I was still working with Uganda Life Authority as a volunteer. So he says, "Aunt, to come by, bring you lunch." So I'm like, okay,
Nice.
it's nice. So and then there he comes and he's like, I want you to marry me. So I'm like, wow.
He proposed at your workplace?
Yeah.
With a ring? Are you for real?
Yes. So I was in shock, and I'm like, okay. So he comes with the ring, and he already had the dates,
Set.
aligned and
he was
set. So,
really up for it.
So I think that was around August. So he says, I want to come and look Chala. So I'm like, okay, but we have
This is
to go
2014.
through- No. Yeah, that's 2014 now. So I tell him, okay, I'll have to speak to mom first, and So when I told my mom, she's like, don't you think you're rushing? How well do you know this person? So by then at home, among the qualities of a man you had to bring home, the first quality, this person had to be a Seventh-day Adventist. So I told her, but he's a Seventh-day Adventist, the family is well known. So she's like, okay, but I still feel you're hurrying, you're still young, why don't you first do your master's? What? I told her, no, it's okay. If it is God's plan, then why should we do what? Why should we derail it? So that is how we start along with the preparations. And in December of 2014, he came home with his family, and they did Kuchala. Then we proceeded to plan for the introduction and the wedding.
Interesting. How was the wedding? You see, these days, man, people like budget a lot. You find that a budget is over 100 million shillings. A person is budgeting for what they do not have. How did you handle it during your time?
Personally, I am a man who likes to work within my means. And I told it to my wife. I was very clear. I told her that when we are organizing this, I want us to do it in such a way that it fits us and it doesn't create an image we cannot maintain. So then I was working with Aga Khan. And I go to the administration, told them, I want to do a wedding and all that. And I can see we have a football pitch. And can you allow me have my reception here? They were very okay with that.
Wow.
So they gave me a reception place. They gave me tents for the school. Of course, they gave me the chairs for the school.
Nice.
They also told me the kitchen is available if you want to cook from here, which I did.
Wow.
The cooks were also very happy to be a part of the function. So that was sorted that way.
Venue,
everything was sorted. I talked to some of my parents, of course, not really talking, but they got wind of it. And being that I'm a math teacher and I used to, get to interact with many of them, I got all the cars, the bridal cars. I just had a standard. I wanted TXs. And I had so many parents giving me TXs, all fueled with drivers. So I did not put any money on that. I only just decorated them with ribbons and all that. So literally, when it came to the wedding, towards the wedding, the people, and I always tell this to the young people, have a budget that is flexible. And the budget that goes out in people, that's okay, but have a budget between you and your spouse. The last one, where you have to adjust things, where you have to say, okay, if the chicken is not enough, make sure that the in-laws eat, make sure that we eat. Have a budget that can, sort you. So at the end of the day, we agreed on what we have to do. So by the time we reached about 4 days to the wedding, we were short of about 7 million. I went to my dad. Then he was in car dealership, and I told him, you know what? I'm going to sell my car to sort this, such that every money now that comes is to buy one after that.
After the wedding, yeah.
And that is what I did. I sold the car, and I got the money, and I distributed it in envelopes of service providers, this and that and this. And my wife was very good that she didn't get flashy things. I think her gown was rent was about 400. She really fit in her budget. My best man, of course, Mr. Matovu had sorted my dressing and all that. So it was, and when we did that, by the end of the wedding, I told my wife that now all the money now we collect, we just keep it. Good enough, everything has been paid. We're not buying anything more. This is what we have, the days we are set. A wedding is done by a debt. And by the end of the wedding, I had a surplus of about 10 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So by the end of the wedding, all we did, I had the parent, a very good friend of mine, who had promised to sell me his car, an Indian guy. After the wedding, I just went, sold us a car, and they gave us the money. We did not, and I always insist to the young people, leave our wedding
with a debt.
Because the wedding is one thing, the marriage is another thing. The wedding is a day's thing. People will eat that food, and by the evening they're eating Rolexes.
And after they start cutting words.
People they cut. You said,
the Diko was not nice.
And however good you prepare, someone will be like, that chinyebwa lacked salt. Even the chicken, as if it was 2 days. There is always the negative comment that will come.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when it comes to the wedding preparations, and I always insist, make sure that you agree with the spouse you're going. The marriage starts in those agreements on finances. Ladies are different from men. Men are okay. We can easily move into Chikubo and we buy shoes of 60 as long as they're new, we shall be okay. A wife, because she has so many friends who are advising, she may want shoes that are 800K. She may want a gown that is 3 million rent. And you cannot blame her because that's what she wants. If you can afford it, well and good. But if you feel this is squeezing me, agree on some things. Navigate them. Your wife may want that cake of 20 million, but if your budget is going to permit one of 3 million, politely, don't be rude, don't command, politely agree. Adjust on something so that you do something that is nice, that is not really local, but again, that is not extreme to your side. Because I had a friend of ours at church when we were collecting money, and she told me something I'll never forget. When she was giving me her contribution, I'll never forget, she gave us 200,000. And she gave me this money. And when I was getting the money, this is the word she said. She was called Dom. She gave me this money and told me this. This is the last free money you're getting. This is the last free money you're getting. I don't expect you to ever want free money again. Because now you're going to be a husband. What she was trying to emphasize is that you're starting your own family. And you have to be the head of that family. So when you're planning the wedding, the marriage starts at that plannery. How much are you listening to the words of other people? How much are you listening to the in-laws and whatever they are? People want to make their wedding within yours. They have their ideas and they want them to fit them in your, but it's not even yours. So have what you want. Agree on some things with your wife, even before you bring it to the people. So the plannery and the wedding itself has to fit you, has not to create an empty shell whereby people will think, that boy showed money. That boy should have a lot of money. And yet, truth be told, you don't. I was a salary earner. She wasn't even working. So I knew my boundaries. Otherwise, you will create this big gap. And then people will struggle with the reality when it comes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, life after the wedding. Let's talk about life after the wedding. What happened after the wedding? How are the first months, the first days of marriage? How did they treat you?
I'm going to stop first and then my wife will chip in.
Okay.
First of all, I lost my job after 1 month of the wedding.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
The job, the workplace that gave you free
Exactly.
venue,
Yeah.
free everything.
It got away, it disappeared.
What happened?
Work issues, you know how they can be. Hate, some people are not very happy that at your young age you're marrying and all that.
Wait, so one of your bosses was not happy with the
Yeah.
fact that at your young age
Yeah.
you got married?
Exactly.
How was he older than you?
Yeah, much older than me. He had not yet married. He came from my Kwanjula and it don't sit well with them. And we moved.
How did you know that it didn't sit well with him?
You could see his attitude. And we move with people who don't like us. And sometimes we think they do. That's the thing about us who are, the character of people with my character who like to identify with people. Sometimes it's now growing on me and you start learning that sometimes you even don't know those who don't like you. Wow. So it happened that way. And we were young. She wasn't working. We had a baby. So it became tough. It was a decision that hit us. And we didn't know what next. Yeah, so she will chip in at that moment. Because there are feelings that she felt after I gave those news that I cannot describe. But all I remember, the one thing I remember when I told her, the first thing she told me was that, and I do not blame her for that, because we're all human. Sometimes we get really weak in such things. She was like, now this God we serve, how can he make us lose a job at this time? The first person she blamed, and I don't blame her for that. But of course, over time, we realized that it was a very careless statement. But she was like, why? Why is it happening to us right now? And everything, became at the beginning. So there.
Mrs. Mulinde.
Yes. Okay, I would say all was well, because I remember one week after our marriage, they had given him a salary increment, like the benefits.
Wow.
Yes, they had given him a new contract. I remember him signing it. I remember us going to church and testifying, God is great, beautiful things come with marriage and what. So, you're all in that excitement. So when he signed the new contracts, I told him, you know what, I think let me wait for the baby at least to make a year, then I can think of getting back into the job market, looking for a job and all that. Then he says, okay. Now after like 2 weeks, you're married, he comes back home and he tells me, what, has fired Sam, like what happened? So he explains that here some things came up, they are even not adding up, and before I knew, HR was calling me and they were telling me they are cancelling the what?
The contract.
The contract. I was like, wow. Remember, you're still renting. Now, remember, we had a lot of plans, with this new money, we can, save this amount, at least buy a plot of land. By the time the child starts schooling, at least we are somewhere. And then now, boom, the income is
gone.
no more. It is gone. Now, you'd be happy, yes, we still have the savings, maybe, but now we had already put away all the money into buying a new car. So literally we had no money. Now he has lost a job, the money we had all paid it out, and we are wondering, okay, now where do we start from? And I remember I sat down in our bedroom and I literally had a quarrel with God. Because it could not sit well with me, and I'm like, God, why would you even let this happen? So yes, you try to adjust, but of course sometimes you think this is kind of some nightmare that I need to,
wake up from.
You have now to adjust a baby that has been on formula, now you have to switch to
milk.
Now the baby will not understand you don't have money. Now you're switching to milk, the baby is not used to the milk. The baby reacts, you have to deal with all of that. The stress was too much. So I remember in the process, I fell sick. We got to Mengo, because by that time I was staying that side of Lubaga. And reaching Mengo, the doctor, does not understand what you're going through. And then he comes with congratulatory news. I'm like, what?
You're pregnant again?
And I'm like, wow, we have no money.
These are how many months?
That's, I think, a few months after the whole thing now.
The whole
And
thing.
how old was the baby?
8 months.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. I remember telling myself, I think if I had not gone with my husband to the hospital, I would have made a very irrational decision in that moment. So I tell the doctor, you cannot tell me congratulations because I have an 8-month baby. So how do I get pregnant again? He's like, but if you're married, you are not on family planning, that is expected. That is when everything turned. We had now to find means of how do we survive. We have a baby, you have to go through antenatals. You know how antenatals can be. You no longer have insurance. Initially, we'd have insurance because from the job. Now the job is not here, you have no insurance, meaning every medical bill that comes along, you have to foot it with no money. You know, he tried getting back into the job market, things were not going through. I can tell you it was a tough moment. We had to leave the house because at one point in time we could not afford the rent. But the beauty with it is the house we were renting was one of the parents of the children used to coach at that moment. So the parent was a little bit understanding and he let us leave the house with the balance that we had. But of course, you know, when you're moving now into a new house, you need to, landlords will tell you, we need 3 months, which money you do not have. Feeding, you're literally surviving. I would literally say you're pregnant, you have a baby. But one thing I can actually commend is we had support system from the family. Because I remember telling my mom, and I told her, you know what, this is what is at hand. So she gave us the money to look for a new house. So we paid up the rent and we shifted until, so now it came to the antenatals and what. So of course I did not want to put that burden. You know that thing of I do not want my family to think I got married to an incapable man. And you know my family is something else. So I did not want, you know, that image. So we had to approach someone. By that time, that person was working at Chisubi. So we told him our situation and he said, yes, I can help. So you can come. So we came in, started the antenatals. But actually what broke my heart was later. So the person who actually offered us help told someone, they are the ones that don't have money and then they're the ones that are giving back.
Oh, wow. But human beings.
I know.
And I'm like, wow, okay, we did not, you know, anticipate this. It is not like it is something we woke up and chose to be in this situation. But of course, it is so heartbreaking, especially if it is coming from someone that you really look at as a friend.
Yes.
And you went to seek help from. But it also taught us that that is how human beings are.
That's how human beings are wired.
Not everyone will stand with you in those tough moments. But somehow we got through because I remember we delivered and left Chisubi when we didn't have money to pay the medical bill. And we had to explain to the guy that we don't have money, but at least give us 1 month.
We shall clear it.
And he cleared us and we left hospital.
That same friend?
No, the doctor now that worked on us, because he's the one who handles the bill.
The late Dr. Chibun?
Actually, the late Dr. Chibun.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Wow.
So we talked to him and he said, no, it's okay. I'll give you 1 month. So he cleared the bill on our behalf and like he loaned us the money. Yet he even didn't know us.
Are you fool?
Yes.
Yeah.
So after like 1 month, we thank God that he actually gave us the money. So I called him and told him, do I go pay the money at the hospital or do we just send you the money? He said, no, it's okay to put the money on my phone. So we gave him the money. Now, for us, we didn't know that when we told him we don't have money to clear that, he went and cleared the bill so that we can be cleared out of the hospital. Wow. It's like he had loaned us that money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see, where the challenge is that on our first child, because we had insurance, And I quite had the service. I remember my brother came to hospital and he was going through a moment, my elder brother. And when he came to see us, he called me and we talked. I thank God that, well, with my siblings, we quite very communicative. We talk and, we share feelings. And he told me, you know what, I have a situation happening in ABCD. I don't know if at all you can help me with. And then actually she had not even yet delivered because they had just come to check on us. And she had pressure issues, so she was in hospital for some days. And because she was on insurance and I had the money, I loaned him money. I gave him money to go and do whatever he's doing. And I had a child in the hospital. Here you are a few years later. You're now trying to leave hospital. You can't even have money to pay. You see now that switch of favor. At one point you had enough to even loan while even going through the child delivery and all that. Right now you're at a place where you can't even pay the bill of a child. I'm a guy who has grown up in a family whereby my father adores his children. And it's something that he has imprinted on all his kids. All my siblings, we love our children. We love each other. But now, when a man is at a point where he feels he's failing to help his child, it's breaking. People don't even know this. Women sometimes, and I don't blame them, think that the man is just being careless. He's coming home late. But let me tell you something. Men drive, park by the road, and try to figure out things in the head because he knows he can't help much. Men have taken decisions. And I always tell my wife, there are debts we took in that time, some of which even we've not paid. But I always tell God, and they're written, that God, I know you'll give me the money. We are paying some of them. But there are debts, you're young, you have to take a debt, you don't even know how you'll pay it. You don't even tell your wife. Your wife ends up getting a call from someone, hey, I gave your husband money and he's not paying. That already is creating fights at home. But as a man, you feel I need to help. You don't want to. So it's when marriages happen at the beginning, and I always throw this to the ladies, be more empathetic. Men have a responsibility on them that just falls on that like that bucket ice challenge. You cannot sit back. You want to hold it together by all means necessary. If you're blessed enough that you're not going to rob a bank or to get a katarimbo and hit someone's head, you want to do it by all means necessary. You will end up in unnecessary debt sometimes, and it's heartbreaking. But at the end of the day, you have to keep it in and say, you know what, I have to do this for my family, and I want to do this for my family. So, and I implore men out there, I'm telling you, I know how hard it is. Even for the ones we think have money. Yes. There is a lot on there. There is a lot they are going through. And sometimes wives don't understand. You may be blessed that you have a wife who could understand. And even her at the beginning, she couldn't. She couldn't. She was young. She had baby. And these realities were not adding up very, very fast. Then it had just come. It was not yet as popular. And you could go and sit in a car and you're not making any money. You don't want to go back home. You don't have money. It was hard. It was hard. But as a man, you could try to figure things out. And you could, you could hold it in. You could try to hold it in. And one thing could, when the devil has decided to fight your marriage, he'll throw everything at you. I remember there is a time that Kevin, the engine, died. And at that time, I was staying in Chanja. During that very time when the engine died, I had gone somewhere, I think. And I had gone in the morning. I was awakened by a call from one of the neighbors. Our maid then had cleared the house.
Wait, she had robbed the house?
Completely, to the last spoon. Left the baby who was then, our second born, who was then about,
I think 7
months
yeah.
in the house. And the neighbor realized this baby is overcrying, and that was at 3. In the same pamper she slept in. PM. She had not eaten anything, so those are over 8 hours of the child without eating. She had moved out of the big sister's cradle, fell down, burst her lip. It was a mess. By the time I got home, this child took about a month, and she could just wake up, out of the fear of whatever happened. And you no longer have what to get money with. This is happening. The maid has cleared your house of all property. And these are things that challenge a marriage to the core. These are points whereby some people run out of marriage because they're like, you know what? My father never chased me out of the house. So when you sort yourself, I remember the thing we always talk about. There was a family member who called me and they were like, I have to have a word with you. That's after I lost a job. And they were like, I advise you that maybe first take your wife back home, organize yourself, and when you're back,
then you can go back.
You can go back and pick her. And I thank God. And when you're told these things as a man, you're realizing that I can survive on a chapat, and you think it can be an option. But I remember what my wife told me, and I'll never forget that. And when I brought this news to her, she's a lady of not very many words. And she looked at me, kept quiet for a bit, and she told me, I came to cook. I left my father's home, and I'm not going back. We shall figure this out. We shall struggle together. But somehow, I'm not going.
What he didn't tell you, in between somewhere, we dealt with inferiority complex because I got a job with ICA. Now, at that moment, as the one bringing in the money. And he had not yet figured out the whole Uber business. The whole Uber business. So it did not sit well with him. Not because he was jealous I had the job, but he felt he was not being man enough. Having the wife that paying the rent, buying the food, paying the maid, like it was a burden to him. Now, because he could not air it out, he would go in silence most of the time. Now you want to reach out to this person, he's not, he's not reaching out. And you're like, okay, now what is going on? But of course, I think he could not relay his fears that, this is how I feel. Now the reality comes in. I remember a heated argument we had. So it is when now he airs it out. Like, do you know how it feels to be a man and you cannot provide? Like, you have to depend on your wife's dealing with a lot. So it's when I realized that actually he has a lot seated with him. And at the moment, I could say, you want to find someone to sit down with and help you figure out a situation, and you can't find that person. Now, I did not want to reach out to my mother because, that fear of, what will my mother think? She'll think my daughter is out there, suffering. But until I felt I needed somewhere to empty my cup from. So I had to call my mom and sat her down and, tell her, this is the ABCD. And she was very supportive, actually. She told me, no, that is a phase and it's not permanent. It will eventually pass. So I would always share what I felt was bothering me, and she should always tell me, now here, do this, do that. So she told me, what you need to do at the moment is when you get money, give it to him. Let him be the one to make that decision. It will make him calm down his ego a bit. So when I would get my salary, I would tell him, this is what we have. Then he would tell you, do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And it resolved the tension a little bit at home until we were able to figure out the Uber business. But then now again, we needed to look for a bigger house because initially we had shifted to a one-roomed house because it is what we could afford, at the moment. But now, you have 2 children, and now you have a maid, then the 2 of you, the house was, stuffed, small, so we had to look for a bigger place. So that is when we shifted now to Chanja. We looked for a house. It was very far, very, very far. But because it was big and it was a little bit accommodative because of the distance, and by then the road was not yet even tarmacked, so you'd bargain the rent and what. Because I remember it was a 3-bedroom house and we're paying how much? 400 for it.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So we shifted. That is when now the maid
decided to do all that.
And I'm like, God, what exactly have we done to you? Are we in some kind of fight or what? At one point in time, I felt it was God, God against us. Because, why would you let, all this happen? I'd left home, gone to work. He had gone to do Uber. And by then, our firstborn had also enrolled in school. So we had, dropped her off at school. And at 3, the neighbor calls me and tells me, your maid is not home. I just had the baby over crying and I felt concerned, only to find the baby down, soaked up in blood and what. I remember sitting on a border from work. I did not even ask the border how much. I just told him, please take me to Chanja. That's where I'm going. And we reached there. And it is when we reached Alligator, I told him, so how much did you did you bring before? So I gave him the money, and only to find an empty house.
Chairs, everything.
No, the chairs she left, I think, because she had no way of carrying
What did
them.
she take?
What she could not carry, she did not take.
Clothes.
But she took all the kids' clothes.
What?
So the only kids' clothes she had left behind were the ones the baby had slept in, and maybe the sheets that were in the cradle. But every other thing, shoes, what, she went to the cupboard, emptied it. The plates, the cups, the what. Now, you know the food you've stocked to get you through the month. She
All
carried all it. Now, that good thing is we'd leave her bedroom closed. I think if she could find a way of getting there, she would have also. But she literally packed everything
And left.
and left. So I reached home and I'm like, wow. We know where to literally begin from. You know, you're trying to squeeze the little you have now. You have to start from afresh. You have no plates. Kids have no clothes. You have no... And I was like, okay, now where do we even start from? I remember sitting down in that sitting room and I cried like a baby would cry because I just couldn't figure out what exactly was going on at the moment. So I called my mom. I told her. She told me, you know what, first come home. So when he came back, I told him, you know, just drop me at my mom's. I think I need space to breathe a bit. So I went home, I think for about a week. Then later came back. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how... Yo. So how are you able to navigate through this? The maid robbing you. The car engine has died. How are you able to navigate through this situation? When did life start getting better?
I have to tell you this, that there is a time after all this happened and the car engine has broken down. The time the life really started getting better is when we started accepting, you see,
The reality.
and knowing that we have to build from the ground up.
From the ground up, yes.
By that I mean you have to, even if it means the job that is paying you the bare minimum, to build up, and then accepting, being supportive of each other. Life doesn't get better because the finances are available, and that is the biggest mistake we make. We think if at all I can afford the car, if at all I can afford the good things, then life is better.
What makes
that
life
is
better?
not. I always love that statement that says that some people are too poor, all they have is money. What makes life better are the moments you will crave for life, are the things you do that impact your life for life, are the planning you do as a team, are the moments you share as a team. It's the growing from ground. You see, when you have a chicken, when it lays an egg, it's very exciting. But when you hatch the first chick, it's even more exciting. When that chicken grows, it's very, very exciting. So you have to accept that, okay, now we are starting again. Maybe we have a small TV. When you buy something else, you clap for each other. When your wife gets her salary increases, you clap for each other. The most important thing is identifying the growth and applauding that growth.
So what you're trying to mean is that what makes life better is that two coming together as a team.
Exactly.
And working together and saying that no matter what the situation,
Yes.
we are in this together.
Yes.
Because later we realized actually it was the two of us. We had no one else. Because, you'd find yourself trying to share a situation with a friend, and before you know, you're hearing it somewhere else.
Yeah.
You see these ones. They are walking and what, but ABCD, is going
happening.
on. Yeah. Because I remember there is somewhere we took the kids for visiting, And the person made a comment of, but these people's children don't have clothes. But literally, we had just been robbed by a maid like 2 weeks ago.
And yet you had shared with a friend.
Yes, and we are trying to figure out how to, put back things together. Yeah. And then someone comes up and makes that comment of, but you're taking those people's kids. No, they don't have clothes. So this person calls me and tells me, so-and-so brought their kids here and told me they don't have clothes, but I'm seeing clothes. So I'm like, okay. You mean she said that? She was like, yes, that's what she told me when I was picking the kids, that I'm taking them, but they don't have clothes. So when I told her, okay. So later when we picked the children, I remember telling my husband, my children will never go to visit. Here, they will stay at home. And my children have grown up knowing that. So eventually, even when things got better, I still find it hard to have my children go visiting. So when they say, Mommy, you want to go here? I tell them, no, we are stuck here.
And you see, you ask that question, when did life really become better?
Yeah, when did life start getting better?
Let me tell you, and I'm not going to hide this. All through the early years of our marriage, we're still religious people. I'm using the word religious categorically. Go to church every Saturday, go and congregate, greet people, hug people. You did not leave food at home, but you're happy at church, you'll have good food because there is church food, and then you go back home. You have to pretend that everything is well. But I thank God my wife started going to Mulinde. Then she became a Mulokole. First of all, it didn't sit well with me at first. That is the truth, because me, I was religious. As you know, we're Adventist. But I started seeing that things were becoming better. There were so many fights, necessary and unnecessary, during this whole thing. By the way, it was never roses. You could fight about anything. She could want to eat something and she cannot. She could, women, when it comes to their children, she wants the best for her child and they cannot get it. We are looking at children who she wants in a certain school, but we cannot afford it. And as a man, you cannot. So there were always those, bickering. But eventually, when she started, I realized a lot about how I was changing. Her anger issues had gone. She was handling matters more maturely. She was viewing things in a very more mature way, in a very more lovely way, in a very more friendly way. Things really started becoming better when I also left religion aside and started seeking God.
Seeking God, thank you.
There is a very big difference between having a couple with religion and having a couple with God.
With God.
Because when you are
say
religious...
that again. I want you to say that again.
Yeah, there is a very big difference between having a couple with a religion to associate with...
Religion is these other religions.
Institutional. Versus having a relationship with God.
With God.
Because with religion, you're accountable to a set of rules, to a set of a committee, or whatever it is. With God, you're accountable to Him. When you're still religious, even if we fight at home, even if we argue about something at home, and we come to church and we are like, hello, hugging people, they are like, that family is very good. I remember one time there is a couple we knew that was big in the, in the church, that it's after years that people realized that this couple was split. They could meet Saturday morning, one parks their car, they come in the same car. Yeah, praise God, praise God. They drive out of church, drops the other, and then the other one also drives to the other destination. But when God came to our lives, we started outgrowing so many mannerisms. We also started praying together, not attending church only together, but praying together at home, fasting as a team. Wow. I remember there is a situation that came where she got a dream. It was interpreted and God had asked us to fast for 5 days.
Dry fast.
No, just fasting. And we agreed we are doing 12 hours up to 3. We have 1 hour of worship and praise, and then we pray up to 4. And by the end of that 5 days,
you got a call.
I had a call from a job offer.
And they were taking up their kids with us for the whole school thing.
So I'm telling you this because I know what I'm saying. That there is a relationship between you and wherever you worship from. And there is a relationship between you and God. And when a couple has that relationship, life is not going to be perfect, but there is accountability. There is always that statement, I always say that you can delegate responsibility, but not accountability. I can give you my children as a responsibility in a school, but I'm accountable how they turn out. You're not going to end up with a child and then they blame wherever she went to school. So we were now accountable for our spiritual lives, how we behave, how true we are to ourselves. You see where I'm coming from? Life, as I always say, is not yet even perfect to now. It's not. We are still trying to build up. Time came we had to sell the car. Time came. My wife the other day gave me a rude awakening. She told me, "Can you believe that our son, our last born, who's the fourth born? She told me, can you imagine? Our son is making 2 years and he has never, and is the only child who has been in this family, and we've not had a car." You see where I'm coming from? But as I said, you end up being more supportive and understanding
To each other.
I told her, you know what, I think I'm breaking with this whole jump into a taxi every morning. We had to sit. We had to liaise. What do we do next? I got that motorbike, the electric ones. That's where now life is right now. But there is a lot of progress. But I cannot make these decisions anymore alone. I do not make financial decisions alone. I do not make physical decisions alone. I make them with my wife. Because at the end of the day, marriage is a team. You're not against. There are times where you'll feel you're against each other. There are times where you feel your spouse is an enemy of your progress. By the way, you feel this person doesn't understand where I'm going. But at the end of the day, you sit down and you say what makes us, what is going to push us forward. Because what people don't understand, sometimes we're like, we shall be ashamed in people. People are not even on you. Just so you know, by the way, people are not even interested in you. People are not even going to be there on you.
Why are you living for people?
You're just breaking your back. You're just breaking your back. I have no problem. Even if we have a family meeting, usually we have family fellowship in my side. Sometimes we are going to her home, maybe because Hamuzei, lives, sometimes comes to town for medication. He's home and we're like, let's go see him. I have no problem with all our siblings coming, driving, and we come with our motorcycle. I have no problem with that. I'm happy with it. Because this is where I'm at, and I know where I'm going. You see where I'm coming? We know where we are going. We know that God is involved. God knows where we are. And I always tell couples, when you invite God in between, God speaks. Never be like, God speaks. He will tell you. God has told people, don't do this, don't do that. God speaks, but he will not force himself. He will not force his will. As James 4:8 says, come to me and I'll come to you. God doesn't come to you if you're not invited. He will not force himself. If you don't go to him, he will give you that space. Because we've been there. We've been in a space whereby you're trying to do everything on your might, trying to hustle here, you take debts here. It is after that we invited God in our life that dreams started coming. That actually our problem was spiritual.
It was more than the physical.
There was a handshake. There was a handshake at my former job that I gave. A handshake. And it was exposed. Just a handshake.
During that fasting period.
Yeah,
Yes.
because initially, when things started like getting better, he would get job offers. Now, they give that probation period of 6 months. Like after 6 months, then we can confirm the contract. But that is where the jobs would end. After 6 months,
There's a handshake you give. What handshake did you give?
It was just
You shook someone's hand.
Someone can greet you. A workmate at work.
But they had medicine.
Yes, they had that charm. At my original workplace, before actually I lost that job, that was all it took.
So, anyway, the Bible says, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and dark rulers seated in those spiritual realms.
yeah.
And for me, I always tell my wife, I always thank God that we met him. We have seen so many things.
Wow.
Some of them go back generations in our grandparents. It's a lot of junk. We move around with a lot of generational issues following. What people don't understand, they are generational curses, but they are generational blessings. And that is now what we work for.
What you're working
There
for.
is generational blessings. They are curses, but they're also generational blessings.
Now, let me tell you, this week I was actually watching a certain sermon on YouTube, and I was watching a lady, she's called Erica Mukisa.
Yeah.
You know her?
Yes.
An ex-Satanist. Erica Mukisa said that the time she decided to give her life to Christ, she gave her life to Christ and all that stuff, she left Satanism, and she said that every time she would work, when she got jobs, like she would just make money for other people and she would not make money for herself. Then she said she went into, I think, a 21 day of prayer and fasting.
Yeah.
She did a Daniel fast of 21 days.
Yeah.
And she said, God, reveal to me, what is that legal way that the enemy used to come to me? Then during that time of fasting, God showed her that when her mother, because her mother was the witch doctor, her grandmother was a witch doctor, and God showed her that when her grandmother had a certain piece of land, some child came over and did what to the crops? The grandmother bewitched that child, and the child died. Then the mother of that child told the grandmother that you will also bury your children,
Aye.
just like I have buried mine.
Oh man.
That was the word that she meant.
That was a curse. Now it is a generational curse that went on following
Yeah.
them. Kids would die prematurely.
Yeah.
When Erica gave birth, her child almost died. But during that time of prayer and fasting, God showed her. Now, there's a discipleship I've been going through, and they said for you to break those generational curses, number one, identify the curse.
Yeah.
Number two, repent. Repent of all the sins of your past generations. Repent of all the sins of your ancestors. Repent of all the sins of your bloodline. Repent of all the sins of your family line. Repent. After repenting, seek deliverance. Like, pray against them, break while you are declaring scriptures. Declare. That is how she got delivered.
Yeah.
So after identifying it in a dream, it was in a dream.
Yes.
And what did you do next?
We started, and it has been a journey. It's still a journey.
Yeah.
How long was this?
COVID.
COVID.
It was during
yeah.
COVID.
It was during
That's when you got that
COVID.
revelation.
Yes.
And then we started seeking God. And I thank God that after COVID, my elder brother, who is now an evangelist, quite a pastor right now, he actually has a fellowship at his home that God told him to start. The Lord speaks. And I was telling him one day when I finished with the romantic Muchiga, I'll invite you and you speak. The Lord
Invite him here.
speaks. Yes, I
No
told him
problem.
I'll invite him because the Lord speaks. This is the Lord who told him, I want you to build a flat, and and he didn't even have a plot of land to do that. And he told him, I'm giving you 1 year to do that. And by the end of that 1 year,
He had
that
done it.
flat was up. My point is that the Lord actually speaks. If you let him, because the Lord doesn't work in Kavuyo. When you're still like this, he will not work. He will let you be, first of all, so that you can come down. You cannot see your mirror in boiling. You cannot see your image in boiling water. You can only see it on water that is calm. So the moment we invited Christ in our lives,
He showed you that
we did
scenario.
not get a basket of money. We did not get the most highly paying job. The first thing is that we got comfort. We got our groove back.
Wow.
We got our trust back. Let me tell you, and I always say this, I remember I was watching that movie, the one that has been trending for Tyler Perry. What is it called?
Straw.
The Straw.
Straw.
I was watching it, and I'll never forget this statement, that poverty
It's
is
expensive.
very expensive.
And that
It's not
is
just the
true.
finances, emotionally. You detach from person. You harbor anger. You try to get some people to help you, and they will not. And they will gossip. When we invited God, we had a lot of glutter. We had people to forgive, even before they apologized.
Yeah.
Family members. And you cannot blame them. You
Delivery,
could-
part of deliverance
Exactly.
is forgiveness.
People
Yeah.
tore you. People created rumor. People created gossip. Someone before, my wife is there and someone is saying that your husband raped someone. And it was a lot. And we held in a lot. But when we met God, we started forgiving. There are people I had never wanted to meet again. Like, you could avoid meeting them. And they are close to you. But
Because
when
I
you
remember
forgive...
there is a family member that was so hell-bent, I think, on tearing my marriage apart. Like, this person will literally come up with all kinds of crooked drama.
Yeah.
Today he says this, tomorrow he says, and you're like, okay, why is this person? And everything he's saying is, untrue, but he'll make sure he says it to a point that a family meeting has to,
To sit.
has to see it. I got so tired, I got so frustrated. So I remember when God told me to forgive this person, I told God I can't forgive that person. I can't forgive that person because this person has done me more harm than what?
Then good.
Than good. Because this person, like trying to justify your unforgiveness to God. Like, this person has done ABCD. This person literally called my husband's place of work and told them that person you've hired is not a good person. They're actually a woman beater. And in my heart, I'm like, my husband has even never laid a finger on me. Why would this person wake up and, do this? Like, oh God.
See, part of deliverance is forgiveness.
Yeah.
And you see, unforgiveness is what ties down our blessings.
It does.
So after getting that revelation, what did you do?
We had to go. Let me tell you, it has been a journey. We had to pray, constant prayer and fasting, and per every phase, God would show you, yes, now we are getting there. Now this has to be done. I remember God telling us we needed to help someone, but God telling you need to help someone, but even the money you have is not enough.
Yourself, you're in need of help.
You're in need of help.
You need
And
help,
God is here telling you, for you to be able to get this deliverance, you must find someone who is incapable
And help.
and help them. And then you're like, God, but how? The money we have cannot even sustain us. But when we did it, somehow you have money, you've cleared everything on your desk, and you're not lacking. And you'd wonder, where has the money come from? That is the beauty I've seen about God. So you tell him, God, now the month has come, but we don't have money to buy things you told us to buy for these people. For some reason, you'll find someone and they give you 100K. You buy the things, take them. And your basket, for some reason, is always full. And so when I realized that when you do God's will.
Blessings.
Yeah. So later, I also had issues at my work. So I started telling him that, God, okay, now what? What is this? And I remember God telling me, but the career you chose is not what I chose for you. So I asked him, so now what career path should I do at? And he told me I needed to go and do nursing. Now, it is when I recalled actually that initially when I was done with my senior, I told my dad I actually want to drop off, do nursing. I don't want to do what? To do HSC. My dad said no. Me, I want a bachelor's in my home. And because I didn't want to do sciences at HSC, so I was like, okay, let me go do this man's bachelor's.
And give it to
him. So I went, enrolled for nursing. That was also another battle. It didn't sit well with a lot of people. How do you throw away bachelor's? How do you throw away postgraduate diploma to go and do and use your senior for results? But when God has told you to do something, for him, he doesn't want debate. All he needs from me is obedience. So I was like, okay, I want to do this. So I went back to school. Now I'm in my second year actually doing nursing.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the moment I did that, actually things at my workplace straightened themselves. And I was like, okay, so this is how you work. But it has been a journey. Along the way, there are times children would fall sick and you cannot afford to take a child to a reasonable hospital to get a clear diagnosis because you don't have the money. Now you have to get like a doctor friend, tell them these are the symptoms my child has, then he does a prescription without blood tests, without what, and then you do what? You treat the child, and somehow the child survives and, gets better.
Wow.
But when someone sees you walking, they think all is well. I remember there's a time we went to the village and someone made a comment and said, but this one, of all the challenges they have gone through, she can't even lose weight.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, so you want me to look my problems? Yes, people in your situation don't have time to gain weight.
And you see, brother, there is one thing I want to remind you.
Yeah.
Even in our marriages, when all this happened and all this we've been going, and God has been talking, there is one thing I have learned.
Yeah.
Drawing boundaries is very key.
That's true.
You can forgive someone, but you have to draw boundaries. You see, it's not about you not liking them. You should identify when someone doesn't like you. And when you know that this person actually doesn't like you, you know where to stop with them. You draw your boundaries. You draw
the
your
line.
There are houses you should never sleep in. You don't hate that person. There are homes you should never eat from. I don't even hide the reality. As the Bible says, you have to be wise
Wise like a serpent.
like a serpent. There are homes you should know that this is where I stop. There are people you should never let in on your issues. You draw those boundaries and maintain them with love. That is what people don't get. So people think that forgiveness means be stupid again. No, it has nothing to do with that. And when you do that, God will start pointing you to people, to new friends, to new surroundings. You see. And I always say this, that as a couple, when things are showing signs of getting better, strategize better. Learn to share each other, share your problems with each other, the challenges. What do we want? Where are we going? What do we want to become? The people who are making the biggest decisions, the people who are making things work, do not wake up and they do them. They start from somewhere. They start with an agreement. They start with a support from the spouse. Let me tell you, there is no amount of support, financial, emotional, otherwise, you can give me that my wife can't. And as long as she has not given me support on something, I don't care what you would say. I would not go for it. And God has blessed the tongues of our spouses, especially the wives, that they see further than us. Men, as I always say, men own the houses, women own the homes.
The home.
If at all someone understands that reality, there are so many things that will become easy for you. You can make the decisions. You pay the car, you pay the rent, but allow her own her home, because that home is not yours. It's for that wife. So when we started seeing God, when we started to forgive, and forgiving is difficult. People don't get this. If you want to know how difficult it is, God had to give his son so that he can wash away our sins. I have one son who is my last born. If you told me to give him off, to forgive random people's, I would call you a joke. You see where I'm coming from? But God had to do that. So there are things we have to understand, the boundaries we have to draw, to understand that we are out there for each other. And I'm telling you, when things got better, when things started pointing to the right direction, in my life, I don't say this because my wife is here, in my life, my first priority is my wife, not even my children, and my children know.
Wow.
As long as I've said no to something, no one will get a yes from her. As long as she has said no, no one will get a yes from me. My children know that our father's priority
Is his wife.
is our wife.
But also, another thing I think we had to deal with was insecurity. Yeah, when I started working, we had a lot of
the insecurity is actually not
the
good.
insecurities. So I remember in the first year, most of the colleagues I used to work with were male, and it did not sit well with him. So I don't know what he had in his mind. Up to now, he has never shared. But a male colleague would call you, like, just inquiring about work, and he would not be okay with it. And I'll tell him, but come on, this is work. And sometimes you'd actually put the phone in loudspeaker to make sure his insecurities are comforted that there's actually nothing, But it's still, I don't know the fears he had in him, because he has never shared them with me. So until I had to actually sit down with my manager and told him, you know what, can I change my workmates?
My work.
Yes, and I had to be assigned female workmates just to make sure he's comfortable.
You see, wow. You know the thing of forgiveness you've talked about? Life is spiritual.
Yeah.
And in the spiritual realm, the devil uses unforgiveness, because unforgiveness is one of the greatest sins. The Bible says in the book of Matthew that forgive one another as my Father in heaven will also forgive you. If you forgive one another, my Father in heaven will forgive you. If you don't forgive one another, my Father in heaven will not forgive you. There's somewhere in the book of Mark which says that if you don't forgive, unforgiveness hinders your prayers. So we come and ask ourselves, why is such a door closed? Why am I having all these barriers in my life? And do you know why that thing is happening? It's because there is unforgiveness you have. That is why I was telling you, part of deliverance, when you're having self-deliverance, you can deliver yourself out of a situation through prayer. Part of deliverance is forgiveness. Repent and forgive.
Yeah.
The devil uses unforgiveness
A lot
to
to
tie
hold
people.
us. Yes.
The devil uses it, but once you forgive,
He sets everything
Yes.
free.
wow,
And let me tell you something. During that time of lack,
yeah,
there are so many things you say to your spouse out of frustration.
Yeah.
frustration.
There are so many things they can say back to you out of frustration. There are so many things you say out of need. There are so many things you do. And some of these things are imprinted on our hearts for long.
Following, yeah.
But over time, you keep praying to God to allow you to forgive. Even your spouse, even the people around you. Because it is so liberating when you forgive someone. That when you see them, you don't get that spike of anger and hurt. So when it comes to the road of forgiveness, as you said, that's where our blessings get what?
Unlocked.
Locked up. And when you forgive, let me tell you, things become easy.
That is it.
When you stop fighting wars physically, now how can this one say this about me? You call so and so. When you stop doing that, people start fighting wars for you. I thank God that now there are people who say, someone goes to report something to them or create a thing, and this person is like, but why do you always say things about this person and they never say anything about you?
That is it.
Why do you don't like this person when this person has no problem with you? We've had people go around now. You can imagine those ones now. They became born again. They no longer even pray. We don't know if at all they still. And someone is like, but why are you so bothered
By their decisions.
their decisions that are not even affecting you in a way? So it creates, and it brings me to also the point that the road to forgiveness, even in a marriage, you kill control. As she has told you, there are insecurities.
Yeah.
People don't know that when you have a spouse, you fear to lose them all the time. But it kills control. You don't want to control someone and have them on your rope.
Yeah.
You see where I'm coming from? It gives a liberty that when my wife tells me she's at work, she's at work. When my husband tells me he's coming home, he's actually coming home. You get my point? There are people who have even complained. There is a family friend who was telling my wife, I think I was telling her to maybe send man or something. And I was like, my phone is there. She got the phone, unlocked it, sent the man and this person's like,
Your
you
wife?
know the password. You know each other's password. You even know each other's pins. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
There is no bank account I have. There is no mobile money I have that my wife doesn't know the pin of, or even is not aware of. You see where I'm coming from? And it's the same. The thing is mutual. This business of people advising young people, and this I bring out very clearly. This business of young people being advised, Mukazi, you have your car thing on the side.
On the side.
A man will leave you with that car thing and say, you know what, since you have your money, feed on it. You see where I'm coming from? You can be open wisely. I know people have spouses who are very difficult on money. Actually, people can steal from a spouse. If at all that is the person you have, then you also know how to deal with that. But let me tell you, transparency is one of the roads to forgiveness in a marriage. I'm going to say this again and again. The first few years, especially the first 5 years of a marriage, people keep a lot of glitter. Those years are very difficult.
The first 5 years,
you're unlearning, you're relearning,
you're relearning,
you're learning. You are moving out of so many comfort zones.
Yeah.
You're stepping into waters that are very uncomfortable. You have to report to someone literally all the time, and they don't even have to ask. You have to consult. Then this person has an in-law side also that is coming along. So it's difficult those 5 years. I'm telling you, it has a lot. But when you learn the transparency, you cannot be shaken. There is nothing, people always say this, and I thank God for it. There is always this thing whereby people know that when I'm with my wife, whether at a party or whatever it is, we're always giggling or gossiping about things. Couples need to have, I call it positive gossip. Tell your person your insecurities. You're coming from work, there are things you've seen at work, at this, talk to each other, because these are the things that bond. And I've already said, intimacy goes beyond what we think is intimacy.
Yeah.
You get my point? People have always talked about, bed intimacy. And I've already said it is overrated and underrated. You can have a very healthy bed and your marriage fails. But if you have an unhealthy bed, your marriage fails. That is how important it is, but also that's how not important it is. The intimacy bit of the bedroom does not determine the success of a marriage, but it can determine its failure. It is one of those pieces of marriage that has to be negotiated very clearly and very, very well.
Wow.
You can be happy with someone and not actually be intimate for 2 weeks, and nothing is wrong with you. You've not got back, the schedules of life are busy, and you're still happy. You see where I'm coming from? When people start tying happiness in a marriage to objects, to happenings, you're objectifying a marriage. If my husband, he can no longer afford the fuel of my car, you have issues. My husband, I think these days the bed is less minutes. I think this guy, you start getting those funny insecurities. But when you understand that the marriage is built on things beyond the physical, on things that being able to share insecurities, being able to support each other, being friends, being each other's number one cheerleader. When my wife told me that she's going to do nursing, my late mom was a nurse. I always wanted, actually, if at all possible. My late mom was a nurse. And my father, he never speaks to me and doesn't say hi to my musao. Because he knows, he loves the fact that. But when she told me I'm going to do nursing, I was like, now this one, we've just gotten a fourth born. What are we going to do? I thank God that when we prayed about it, usually at our work, when someone wants to go in something else because she's doing sales, usually they tell them, no, you can now continue with your path of life and everything. They did not do that. They actually were very positive, that it's okay, we understand now your schedule is going to adjust, remain. You see where I'm coming from? And God has not failed to provide.
God has provided.
Every single way.
In every single way. Without you even trying, without you even asking, God has provided. So be each other's number one cheerleader. Be each other's back, because they need it. Let me tell you something, brother. Every person needs to be seen. And there is nothing better than your wife being the one who sees you. One of the reasons as to why people's marriages are crumbling is a husband can be hustling and he's not being seen. And he's not being appreciated. All the wife does is complain. Now even we used to buy 10 kilograms of sugar, now you're buying 2. What is up? It's always complaint after complaint. The house is no longer even being built. Even now you're spending money on someone. You're always being bickered. Even my car is now even old. You don't even, it's always about you don't care, you don't seem. Everyone wants to be appreciated. I always tell my wife that nothing beats the feeling that there are times you go back home a little bit late and all your children are asleep. But the moment they know that dad has come back, they'll wake up, just come and, pat you, and then they go back to sleep. Everyone wants to be appreciated. Your wife wants to be appreciated. You don't have to appreciate them in the biggest ways. Carry them a sweet. Do this. Send them an abrupt message in the day. We have AI where you can just ask something and you give a generated message. Appreciate. But this business of being there, you think that, me as a wife, I'm very beautiful. No one needs beauty. No one needs the beauty. Be appreciative. Show your husband that he's the number one in whatever he's doing. Show your wife that she's the number one in whatever she's what? She's doing. You get where I'm coming from. Yeah. But this business of people always throwing jabs at someone, this business of, I always love that joke where someone wrote a post on Facebook and say, get a humble way of telling your wife that the food is very salty. And this guy is like, my wife, today, did Lot's wife fall in the food? But be supportive. Be supportive. I like that story I read about a
Criticize
family.
them positively.
Yeah, I like the story about a family where the man came home, the children were home, and the wife served supper. She had made pasta and it was burnt. The food was really burnt. And one of the kids complained to the dad, can't you feel that the food is burnt? And the wife was there. And the father said, no, I don't feel it. All I know, my wife made the food. And that is enough. Even if she knows, but she wants you to have the back. When it comes to family, and if at all now a family has children, never criticize your wife. In front of the children. Or husband. Never even criticize a maid. You're planting a seed. My children know. You can't. I saw this when I was growing up with my parents. Even if our father was, how it is then. The guy has 8 children, he's looking after man has not. So he could come sometimes angry, having issues. The moment he could start bickering, my mother could just walk out. She had that tendency, goes to the bedroom, maybe pulls a case from up and it falls. She said, hey, daddy, come and help me. And when the man goes there, she locks that bedroom.
Then they have
By
a
the
conversation.
time he comes back, he's now a calm man. She never allowed him, never yelled. And I'm going to say this, my brother, one time. I've told it at my workplace where I am right now, to my colleagues that I lead. I've said this. What is bullying? Many people are in marriages and they are bullying their spouses, and they are being bullied and they don't know. Let me redefine bullying in my own words. Bullying is identified in 3 things. When someone talks to you like you're a child, when someone talks to you like you're stupid, and when someone talks to you like you should fear them, you're bullying them.
Does it have spiritual repercussions?
It
Definitely.
builds
Because
resentment.
it builds resentment. We've seen these wives who, very traditional wives, who when the husband speaks, she cannot say back. He backs and, he's around and everyone fears. That's bullying. Never be a husband who bullies. Never be a wife who bullies. You get? Because when you bully someone, they resent you. I've already said this, that people don't leave work because the work is bad. People leave toxic work. People leave toxic bosses.
People, I know of people who are okay being unemployed because of the toxicity
Yes.
of the environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't want to go at work and someone talks to you like a child and you have a wife to come back to. And I've already said that wherever I go, even at work. I've walked out of meetings. I said, no, you'll not speak to me like that. Because you're going to create a ripple effect. You're projecting. People project. Someone has come with issues from one, they project on you. You're not going to allow that. So when you don't have to speak to your wife rudely. There are times you feel full and pissed. Give yourself space. For us men, we have football to watch. Walk around. You get. Go and drive on the expressway and back. Trust me, you'll calm down. Don't project. Because every time you project and someone coils, it's not because they have had. They are just leaving you alone.
Wow.
Wives have looked at husbands making messes, and she's like, that one,
Tagambwa hapo.
But also another thing is you need to find a love language that settles you down.
Yeah.
Now for us, our love language is I love you. So,
Words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now if we are in an argument and he says I love you, I'll automatically know I've gone overboard and I'll keep quiet.
Wow.
Yes. That is a way of cooling down a heated argument. Otherwise, in the effect of a heated argument, people say
Yes.
a lot
lot
of
of
things.
Yes.
And words are hard to be forgotten. Somehow you sit and those things keep,
That they're always responding to you.
yeah, recollecting. So that is what we chose to go with. So if we are having an argument and I say I love you, he will know that he was, yeah. So he will keep quiet and you will see him walking away.
Wow.
Yeah, so eventually he will come back down and then he will tell you, you know what, let us talk about this.
Wow.
And you talk about it in a very much calm way without the heat and the tension.
Guys, I think I will get some time and invite Mr. Mulinde and we have a conversation about men and how marriage should work. But I thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm really glad you had to forgive. I'm glad you sought God.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, in the life we are living right now, if you don't have God, if you're not prayerful, if you do not fast, trust me,
You're a joker.
you're a joke. Let me tell you, we have things following us. People have curses following them.
Yeah.
And you will not know. But the only way you will know is when things hit you down and you're like, now
And
let me
you're
see
like,
God.
yeah.
Invite God into your life.
Yeah.
Like James chapter 4 verses 8 says, submit yourselves to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw closer to God, and he will draw closer to you.
Yeah.
And it says, humble yourself in God's presence, and he will lift you up.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you forgave. I'm glad you sought God. I am glad that life is getting better for you.
Much
Yeah.
better, much better. And as I said before, life never has to be perfect.
It never has to be.
We're on earth.
Yeah.
There are always those impurities. One of the biggest fears of any couple is there could be a time when one of us leaves the other. Yesterday when we went for this burial, I looked at my our in-laws' father, and they were supposed to celebrate 50 years in marriage in October. And I'm like, how is this guy going to? I've seen my father when my mom passed. 28 years in marriage and then your wife passes. It's not easy. It's always a fear that will happen. But you see, as I said, it's the bonds, the memories you create. And those memories don't have to be very, very big.
Yeah.
They don't have to be very, very... People think that you'll have to go on the best road cruise. No! You create your own memory. Be friends. Be able to... want to be home and just be with your with your partner. Yeah. I've always told my wife now, right now, after we finish with this, I have to go and we eat somewhere without even the children. Because at the end of the day, there will be a time when my last born, who is 2, will be 20 and is gone.
And you have to stay.
That is 18 years later, and now you're in your 50s. So perhaps now you've even gotten your NSSF money. But if at all you were not friends with your wife, you're in a house whereby you're like enemies to each other. And these are things you build over time.
Yeah.
So, and that time will come, you see. And your children want to, you have to create a relationship where your children want to come home. I always see her parents, we always want to be around them because we love how they identify with each other, how they love each other. It is a home you want to visit. It is a home you want to be in. And your children are going to build homes like that. Yesterday, when we went for that burial, I was talking to the brothers of our in-law, and they were saying, man, you guys have given us a challenge. You came to bury for us because we married your sister. And all of you, siblings of your sister, came with your spouses. 3 of your mothers, my late mother's sisters, came. 2 of our fathers, because my father is sick, his brothers came. You guys carried an entire family to Masaka and slept here for us. Your unity is beyond us. And people see these things. People watch your couple. I have seen people. There is a friend of ours we met at church last weekend. She was also Adventist and became born again. She told me the family deserted me because I'm a grandchild of a pastor. I was deserted. But when she met us, she was very happy. And the pastor where we pray from in Pastor Kemirbe's church, the husband was also an Adventist. So he likes me so much because we identify. And he told me, I knew you were going to see each other. But this girl was telling me I'm happy. And I did not know her. And you know, she knew me. She was like, I always saw you guys on Facebook. You guys love each other. And you even became born again. You're still together. You see where I'm coming from? People see. Now, if people see who don't even know you, what about the children you're bringing up? Wow. You see, last week, I'll not forget, it will never leave my heart. Last week, her father, we went to see him and he gave us money for ice cream for his grandchildren. So we brought ice cream and we reached home on Sunday and it was late. So she told them, no, you know what, kids, you'll eat the ice cream tomorrow. And we went to work. And then she called at around lunch and she was like, I forgot. Did these people eat ice cream? And then she called home. And then she was like, she talked to her firstborn. Hey, how are you? Have you guys eaten the ice cream? She was saying, no, because you've not given us permission yet. Okay. And then she was like, no, you can eat it. Then we came back at night. And checking the fridge, there was some ice cream left. Why didn't you finish the ice cream? No, we had to leave for you. Wow. Because in our home, we've built a foundation. Everyone has to eat. Even if they're making snack for the ones who are going to school. If they're going to take eggs, part of their snack, the maid will have to boil an egg for herself and an egg for the one who stays home. Even when you're sharing biscuits or anything you've brought, you share with the kids will come and say, okay, now where is for auntie? This is how they've been built. So, and these are not things you'll be told. You have to build these things around your home. You have to build them in your children. And a loving home, you want to be in it. And that is how your marriage will be grounded. When you have these children who are always everywhere, police, you're breaking them out of jail, you'll get tired of your marriage. By the way, you'll just get tired of your marriage. But you want a marriage that is blissful, that is happy for you. And when you have that internal happiness, believe me when I tell you, that marriage will stay. It will survive. We have seen these days people divorcing and they have all the money. People are killing each other and they're millionaires. The wife killing the husband. We've seen this.
We've seen the stories in the news.
Why? When our parents, them days, used to grow up in their huts and they could survive for years and they're still together even when they're struggling financially. Because marriage is not driven on the finances. As much as they are very important in it.
It's driven on the relationship.
The relationship.
Wow. Guys, it's been nice hosting you. Yeah. Thank you so much. I will have you again some other time. So to all the viewers out there, I hope you've picked a lot of lessons. Pray, seek God, be together, pray fast, seek God because God is the foundation. Yeah. Because even Jesus said that if you Jesus said that if you do not follow his will, man, you're like this guy who built his house on sand.
Yeah. Hey, when the rain must not drop, you'll be swept.
So Christ is supposed to be your firm foundation.
Yeah.
If Christ is your firm foundation, you'll be like the man who built his house on a rock.
Waves will come.
Waves will come, winds will blow, but it will weather the
will
storm.
stay.
It will stay. All right. So thank you so much, guys. Keep on liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting, and all that stuff. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Till next time. Bye.